Woodworking is obviously a very different field than AI. But in this woodworking class, many of us had not worked in woodwork before. There was big dangerous saws, little tools and everything. It's so obvious going into woodworking that there'd be safety issues. It wouldn't be so obvious to people back in the day as they started using tools, as those tools got sharper and sharper. Otherwise, and even the difference between, oh, you're using a big like table saw, you obviously know that could be dangerous, but then you're also using a chisel and you're like, oh, the chisel, that looks fine, I'm going to use the chisel. And then it turns out that more people are injured by the chisel than they are by a table saw because it's so obvious that the table saw is going to be dangerous, less obvious the chisel is. And then more people are nicking themselves, bleeding, getting all these different injuries from chisels. And that's also what I think then in responsible AI. Yeah, people may be like, oh, it's obvious that I have to be prepared to like not build a killer robot. Okay, I know not to do that. Yeah, it is obvious. So you have to be aware of what are the actual risks and harms. So for a client, it's going to be like, what are those like more frequent but less sexy big issues that they need to know about, and then how do they respond to that? So I think that's exactly a great like analogy to use. Yes, there's definitely big obvious harms, but clients, we need to help them understand what are the very frequent ones that are not as well known because they happen at such a small scale but also very frequently. We had a safety briefing before we started anything, and then as we continued participating in the class and using new tools, we got a more focused safety briefing as we used new tools. And got me thinking, obviously, responsible AI about how we talk about it taking a life cycle approach to responsible AI, that along the way there should be checks and balances to make sure you get to the right outcome. But also it reinforced the importance of training and the initial overall, what are the things to look out for? And then that gives people to know when they should go to the kind of life cycle approach and get deep into it. Is I got the overall at the start. I didn't get everything because it would be overwhelming at the start. But as I go along, then I know when to use it. So I love that. Yes, this works in many different areas. It's a well known thing to start with the overview, just know what to look out for. And then as you reach those kind of trigger points, then you go deeper into the actual knowledge. So I love that ties to our approach to training early on and then the practicalities of implementation as you go along the responsible AI journey.